and which kind of water is the healthiest water for you to drink. It's a very, very important topic. There is a lot of mythology around water, which waters you should and should not drink and why. And I want to dive deep into this subject. And so let's talk about this. Now, I'll tell you right up front, my personal recommendations are also the water that I drink. I don't sell any kind of water purification system. I'm not endorsed by any particular brand of water. I drink the waters that I think are the healthiest for me and for my family. We drink distilled water. We drink reverse osmosis. Now, let's talk about some of the myths around really distilled water and reverse osmosis water. Now, distilled water, it's hard to talk bad about that because it's rain. Rain is distilled water. The sun on the ocean and the lakes and the streams causes evaporation of water molecules. They go up into the clouds and then they're rained down as distilled water. That's what rain is, or at least that's what it used to be. Now, in today's times, there's quite a bit of pollution, perhaps, in the atmosphere and the upper atmosphere. And so you worry a little bit about rainwater. Yeah, I think it's still fine, but you need to let it rain for 15 or 20 minutes and then start collecting the rainwater afterwards in very clean containers. And I think that's probably almost as good as distilled water in a glass container or distilled water that you produce in your own household. And so one of the big myths is that distilled water or reverse osmosis water, since they don't have anything in them, including minerals, will leach the minerals out of your body. They'll leach the calcium out of your bones and give you osteoporosis. In the making of this video, I looked extensively into the research. I can't find any hint of research that purports to claim this or to show this. Now, there are many gurus out there on YouTube and other social media who will tell you that distilled water and reverse osmosis water are like mineral magnets, and they'll pull all the minerals out of your body and leave you just a shriveled up, osteoporotic, mineralless mess. And it's just not true. There's no truth behind that. When you take a drink of distilled or reverse osmosis water in your mouth, swallow it into your esophagus, and by the time it hits your stomach, it's already been exposed to enough sodium and chloride that it's going to be completely saturated with these minerals. And so you don't have to worry about that. So that is a big myth. There's absolutely zero research showing that distilled or reverse osmosis water will leach or suck any minerals or vitamins or anything else for that matter out of your body. There's just no truth to that whatsoever. And so the truth, it is true that there are no minerals in reverse osmosis or distilled water. That's absolutely true. Just like rainwater has no minerals in it unless it picked up some contamination on the way down. That's not a problem because compared to what? That would be my question. And so are you saying that tap water, municipal city water, has lots of good healthy minerals in it? Because I don't think that's the case. And we'll talk about that a little more down below. Another big myth is that you hear is that distilled water and especially reverse osmosis water are very acidic waters, and they will make your blood or your tissues very acidic, and that's very bad for you. Distilled water has a pH of exactly 7. And there's no argument with that. No one can argue that. Reverse osmosis water, if it's left exposed to air, might pull some carbon dioxide into it out of the atmosphere, out of the air you're breathing right now. And that might lower the pH temporarily. But as soon as you swallow that water, your stomach pH is more acidic, not by a little bit, but by orders of magnitude, by powers of 10, more acidic. And so that literally makes no difference to your body at all. Your body, by the time the water is absorbed by your small intestine, your body can't tell if you drink rainwater, distilled water, reverse osmosis water, or city water, except for the contaminants that are in the water. And that's why I recommend reverse osmosis or distilled water for your home, is because you just can't trust municipal water anymore. I was a county commissioner for 4 years in my local county, and we had problems with the water having too much fluoride, too much chlorine, too much of this and that and the other, and they were constantly having to tweak this and sending out boil alerts like, oh, you need to boil your water for the next week, as if that's going to get rid of too much fluoride, which it's not. Another big myth is that you need alkaline water to drink. Again, even if you bought water with a pH of 9, which is very, very alkaline, when you take a swallow of that water, by the time it goes through your mouth, your esophagus, and down into your acidic, very, very acidic stomach, all of the alkalinity has been canceled. Your body, the small intestine, cannot tell whether you just drank a water with a pH of 6, 7, 9. It has no idea because the stomach acid is orders of magnitude more acidic than any water that you could possibly ever drink. And so if someone says, oh, but the pH of reverse osmosis water is 6, it's very acidic. Well, remind them that the acidity of the coffee they're drinking, the pH of coffee is about 4, and tea also is about 4. So if they're worried about acidity, they probably ought to stop the coffee and tea as well because they have an acidity of about 4, which also does not matter because your stomach acid is about 100 times more acidic than that. So it makes no difference whatsoever. Now let's talk about some truths, okay? The minerals in your municipal water, if you get city water, or even if you have spring water or well water. Now, spring water and well water, if they're uncontaminated, can be very good sources of water. My grandmother has a very deep well on her property. The water tastes delicious, and we actually sent it off. And it has a few little minerals, but it didn't have any contaminants whatsoever. So it's a wonderful water for her to drink and for us to drink when we visit. But your municipal water, the only minerals, the only elements it's going to have in it is chlorine and fluoride. Right? That's basically it. There might be a tiny milligram of calcium, maybe a half milligram of magnesium, but there's not going to be any meaningful minerals in your municipal water. That's just a myth. If you buy mineral water in a glass container, then you might have more minerals, but still, if you look on the back, you'll be very shocked at how few minerals are actually even water labeled mineral water. So I think that we definitely need our minerals, but I think you need to get your minerals and your electrolytes from the foods you eat or by adding an electrolyte supplement, which we often do just to make sure we're getting enough. And I'll link to that little supplement down in the show notes below as well. Now, and so, like I said earlier, I delved into the research about, is there a mineral sucking magic to distilled water or reverse osmosis water? It's barely even mentioned in the literature because it's kind of ludicrous on its face. It's something that you'll hear naturopathic people and herbal people, they'll talk about that. And I'm not being disrespectful. I think they are well intentioned and earnest in their beliefs, but they're just wrong. This doesn't happen. And like I said earlier, by the time the water reaches your stomach, it's already been saturated with sodium and chloride. It's not hungry for the minerals in your bones or in your brain or in your liver. That's just a myth. Then also, I was trying to find some research that showed that drinking reverse osmosis water might affect the acidity of your blood, of your serum, inside your cells, inside your mitochondria. There is zero research that shows this. And as you'll remember, your stomach acid is 100 to 1,000 times more acidic than any water or any coffee or any tea you could ever drink. And so it would be like worrying that you're going to flood the world by pouring a cup of water in the ocean. It's not. It's irrelevant. It makes no difference whatsoever. So stop worrying about the mineral suck and stop worrying about, oh, if I drink reverse osmosis water, it's going to make my blood acidic. That's silliness. Okay, that's nothing to worry about. So, but your minerals are very important, and that's why I recommend that you be in charge of your minerals. Make sure you're eating the proper foods, and you can get those foods ideas from other videos on this channel. We add an electrolyte drop to our coffee and tea and water just because we like to make sure we're getting enough of these minerals. And the minerals we focus on, the electrolytes we focus on, are magnesium, potassium, sodium, and chloride. Most everybody gets enough chloride, but it doesn't hurt a thing to put it in your water. If you get too much magnesium, potassium, sodium, or chloride in what you're drinking, your kidneys will just pee that right out. It's not a big deal at all. And so I'm going to link to the electrolyte drops down below, and also the reverse osmosis system that we use in our own house. And that's where we get all of our cooking water, we get all of our drinking water, the water we make coffee with, all of it comes from that filter. And I would encourage you to realize it's worth a little bit of money to make sure that your water is really, really good for you. And the most important thing is not what it doesn't contain, but what it does contain. Your body doesn't need the chlorinated water. It doesn't need that chlorine. So filter that out. Your body, you get plenty of fluoride from your toothpaste or whatever. You don't need that extra fluoride. And actually all the chlorine and fluoride in your municipal water supply can keep your thyroid and other body tissues from absorbing any iodine that you might have in your diet. That can be a big deal health-wise as well. Now I'm going to put up either here or here. I can never remember how much water you should drink a day to be healthy and lose weight, because there's also a lot of mythology around that. So watch that video. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel and click that little bell right beside the subscribe button so that every time I get a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first to know. This is Dr. Barry. I'll see you next time.